Hello all. In today's session, we will focus on abstract art, its origin, philosophy and practice. Abstract art was a target of satire and awe for common society. This happened because the society was exposed more to literature and representative art. People tend to look for meaning in a work of art. Look at it this way. Think that you are enjoying a sunset from a hilltop. The spanning vista has the capacity to evoke emotions, sublimate the mind. But if somebody comes and asks for the meaning of the landscape or sunset, what will be your response? Visual experience differs from literary experience. Of course, it can invoke meaning, but it is always not necessary. Music is an excellent example of abstraction. Music can exist without lyric. Chorus, beat, melody, so on can create music without relying on words. Likewise, images can be created by repetition, rhythm, harmony, balance, so on. If we observe it this way, every visual appearance becomes an abstraction. The perception happens first, then the cognition. To perceive an object to be a particular, for example, a mango to be a mango, a reflected visual has to fall on our eye. Abstraction happens here. The eye does not perceive, it only sees. The shades of light are processed by the brain, then recognize the shape of the mango to be a mango. It is here that meaning appears for the first time. Kant, the great German philosopher, analyzed the term a priori. A priori is something beyond experience. It means a type of knowledge which is derived without experience or observation. Only post priori can be understood through experience. Post priori means a type of knowledge which is derived through experience or observation. Every particular tries to go towards its own abstraction. A schema is the ontological knowledge of a particular. We can take our mango as an example. When an onlooker sees a mango from a distance, he perceives it as a sphere. When he comes nearer, the sphere appears to be a fruit. Proximity gives clarity to the particular. Thus, the space-time experience of living has created inside us a knowledge base, and it is this knowledge which gives meaning to sensed abstract shapes and forms which we recognize as objects. Early 20th century aesthetic groups like the Bloomsbury theorized on abstraction by extending the ideas of Kant. They suggested a kind of formalism. The major theorists of the Bloomsbury group who wrote on art and aesthetics were Roger Fry and Clive Bell. Their writings began to appear from 1914 onwards. Clive Bell in his article on art writes, "In each, lines and colors combined in a particular way, certain forms and relations of forms stir our aesthetic emotions. These relations and combinations of lines and colors, these aesthetically moving forms, I call significant form. And significant form is the one quality common to all works of visual art." Bloomsbury group played a central role in debates like art for art's sake. But abstraction as a movement in art appears even before the emergence of Bloomsbury group. Roger Fry in 1912 used the term visual music to describe the work of Kandinsky. The first proclaimed pure abstract painting was done by Kandinsky in 1910. This was not a sporadic appearance. Abstraction as a concept can be stated to have started in modern art from Impressionism itself. It was Impressionism of 1870s which saw a representative image as a compilation of light patches. It was color abstraction. The object was unimportant for the Impressionist painter, even when he paints a landscape or still life. The famous title given by the American British painter Whistler to the painting of his mother, painted in 1873, was Arrangement in Grey and Black No. 1. This title was given as a reminder to the viewer that the subject is not important. Only the composition, that is, the arrangement of shapes on the surface, is relevant. Remember, composition is a term used by both musicians and artists. Cezanne experimented with the structure of objects. He abstracted every form to its basic primary form. Any object can be created by assembling a sphere, cone, triangle. His experiments led later to the development of Cubism. Ladies of Avignon, painted by Picasso in 1905, is considered to be one of the first Cubist paintings. Observe the way Picasso has abstracted the subject. One should also remember the contribution of four painters, especially Matisse. Matisse reduced forms to shapes and filled his canvases with flat areas of paint. He realized that a picture can be more than a window through which one sees a representative scene. It can be a rhythmic composition of pure shapes filled with joyous color. So Kandinsky, while doing the first abstract painting in 1910, was extending the experiments of his predecessors. Abstraction can also be considered as a state of mindlessness. It is mind which depends on a language of words to create meaning. Philosophers and monks for centuries were speaking of mindlessness, where thoughts cease to exist and forms disappear. Meditation is a means proposed by them to arrive at this state. The pioneer painters of abstraction like Kandinsky and Piet Mondrian were interested in the philosophy of Austrian mystic Rudolf Steiner and theosophy. This fact is evident from their biography. Kandinsky wrote even a treatise on art concerning the spiritual in art. It is to be remembered in the context of abstraction that Kandinsky was also a trained musician. Movements like Cubism, the Sigil and Constructivism can be termed as abstract formalist movements, whereas in Kandinsky's works a kind of abstract expression appear. Thus, the term abstract expressionism was used first to describe Kandinsky's works. Later, the term got its wider acceptance as an American abstract art movement. Psychic automatism as a major method of creativity was put to action by the Surrealist movement in 1923. Pure psychic automatism was how André Breton defined Surrealism. Surrealism was based on the psychoanalytic theory of Freud and his theory of free association. In automatic drawing and writing, the artist simply allows the brush or pen to flow. The result was considered to be closest to the subconscious, and often it ended up in abstraction. Some surrealists tried to evolve recognizable images out of these abstract images. The painting of Max Ernst is an example. Psychologist Gustav Carl Jung had also written on abstraction. He says, "There is abstract thinking just as there is abstract feeling, sensation and intuition." Abstract sensation would be aesthetic as opposed to sensuous sensation, and abstract intuition would be symbolic as opposed to fantastic intuition. Carl Jung influenced American abstract expressionism. Greenberg, the theorist of American abstract expressionism, relates abstraction with action. American poet critic Harold Rosenberg is quoted as saying, "The canvas is not a picture but an event." It is action which creates forms. The philosophy of Zen influenced the painters of the abstract expressionists and field painters group. It is also to be remembered that abstract expressionism was a term first used in connection with the works of Vasily Kandinsky, as we stated earlier. Thus far, we have discussed abstract formalism, which includes schools like Cubism, and abstract expressionism. Now, we will move on to the analysis of some master works of abstraction. Understanding the first abstract work. In this section, we will look at how to understand and interpret a seemingly simple abstract painting. We will choose the very first abstract painting as accepted by art community for analysis. Like any other artwork, to have a comprehensive understanding, we will have to understand the cultural context in which it was created. Look at the image presented here, the first abstract painting created by Vasily Kandinsky. This painting was done in 1910. Vasily Kandinsky, as you know, was a Russian painter who migrated to Germany and was a key figure in the Expressionist movement. He was a leading member of a group of painters known as Blaureiter. This abstract watercolor, like any other painting, follows the rules of the fundamental elements of visual art. Here the dominant elements are color and form. We will analyze the aspect of color first and then proceed to form. Remember what I mentioned earlier, Kandinsky was a trained musician. He was attempting to create a painting the way a piece of music is composed. He was not the first to attempt visual music. A 16th century Mannerist painter, Arcimboldo, devised a method to translate tones and semitones to their corresponding color values ranging from white to black. In 18th century, an instrument, ocular clavichord, was invented. It was meant to show corresponding colors of sound while the music was being played. Its inventor, Louis Bertrand Castel, experimented with prisms, candles and colored papers to find the color corresponding to each note. It related 7 colors to the 7 whole notes of the musical scale. In 1877, Bainbridge Bishop also constructed another device to create music painting. He was influenced by the ideas of Chevreul. Remember that the Impressionists were also influenced by Chevreul. In 1893, Remington invented the color organ. In 1911, his book Color Music, The Art of Mobile Color was published. So, it was not an accident that Kandinsky was creating abstract paintings named compositions during this period. In 1914, he also created the abstract musical drama The Yellow Sound. The protagonist of the play is the color yellow. In 1913, Kandinsky painted light picture and black lines. He recognized these two paintings as his first non-objective pictures. That is, they are totally abstract works rather than abstractions started from objects. Kandinsky titled some of his abstract pictures Improvisation 1, Impressions 2 and Composition 4, so on. According to him, an impression is a direct impression of outward nature expressed in pure artistic form. Improvisation is a largely unconscious, spontaneous expression of inner character of the non-material nature. He described the term composition as consciously created expressions of a slowly formed inner feeling, tested and worked over repeatedly and almost pedantically, and surfaces only after long maturing. Kandinsky says that if color is the means of influencing the soul, one can then say that pictorial art in future will use colors as sounds, and canvases will be divided into 2 categories: simple compositions or melodies and complex compositions or symphonies. Kandinsky wrote in his book concerning spiritual in art, published in 1912, that the effect of color is deeper and intensely moving to a very sensitive soul. He also stated that the second main result of looking at color is the psychic effect it evokes. According to Kandinsky, colors produce a corresponding spiritual vibration, and it is only as a step towards this spiritual vibration that the elementary physical impression is of importance. He became interested in the psychic effect of color by his association with the philosophy of Theosophical Society. In the book Thought Forms, authored by the leaders of the Theosophy movement Annie Besant and Leadbeater, colors were linked to corresponding thought waves propelled by human mind. In 1925, Kandinsky wrote that painting must quit the materialist world concept based on the Greco-Roman tradition and move toward a spiritualistic art of the East. Kandinsky has isolated two forms, the point and the line. The point is the most concise form. When placed on the basic plane, usually a square or a rectangle, it can be isolated or resonate with other points or lines. A line is the product of a force applied in a particular direction, so it is dynamic. We can see that these ideas were shared by the Futurist movement and the Neoplastic movement. Now, let us see the first abstract painting again. Let us also see some more of his works. Now, I hope you will be able to feel the music which he has painted. We have become very much acquainted with computer generated music visualizations now. They are too familiar to us and has become mechanical, so we forget that they have a visual history. A recent exhibition in 2005 named Visual Music, organized by the Hirshhorn Museum, Smithsonian Institute and the Museum of Contemporary Art, Los Angeles, exhibited works by Vasily Kandinsky, Paul Klee and others. Now, we will move on to methods of abstraction. Improvisation from nature. An art student at the beginning of his career will be tempted to think that creating an abstract work is very easy, but the reality is very different. Of course, there are innumerable abstract painters and abstractionists. Some of the works may appear attractive too, but the decorative quality of an abstract work won't make it a significant artwork. To be considered as a significant work, a work should extend the existing concepts of art. Only then will it become historically significant. The first abstract artwork by Kandinsky was a revolution in the concept of what a painting is. Now, let us examine how some serious artists have arrived at some of their masterpieces of abstraction. This is a painting by Piet Mondrian. This painting can be classified as abstract formalist. This belongs to the art movement called Neoplasticism. Let us examine the title of the movement and see how Mondrian has created this abstract painting. The word plastic is about form, something which can be felt and has volume. Mondrian wanted to abstract natural forms and arrive at the base primary structure and primary colors. Mondrian started by making the study for a tree. Then he proceeded to abstract it to its possible limits. Looking at this series of works will make you understand the effort Mondrian took to arrive at an abstract work. This is a method of arriving at abstraction by improvisation from nature. You may also try it. Pure formal abstraction has been experimented much with. So be patient. Look for something conceptually new. Remember, Cubism was also an experiment at abstract formalism. Futurism tried to picturize abstract concept of motion by dynamic overlapped forms. Now we will look at another mode of abstraction, expressionist abstraction. Kandinsky used expressionist abstraction. Pollock used expressionist abstraction. Look at this work by Pollock. This painting was conceptually new because it tried to catch action. This was the visualization of dynamic action in its most natural form. We find this form in nature everywhere around, only that Pollock has painted it in a canvas. Can you think of some other form of abstraction other than which can be classified under these two? If you have, Take a piece of paper or canvas and begin to work. You may be doing something really significant. Now, I will introduce you to another abstract art movement of high significance, op art. This movement cannot be termed as belonging to formalist abstraction or expressionistic abstraction. Some critics ridicule the movement by saying that it is not art, but scientific illustration of illusion. But in the world of art, op art is considered to be significant because it tries to go beyond human reasoning and tries to contain motion inside stillness. But it is up to you to decide how easy it is for you to experiment with abstraction. My advice is that you inwardly understand the difference between the term design and creative composition. An Oriental mindset may also suggest an understanding of the edge between being and nothingness. Only then will you be able to master the art of abstraction. Till our next session, bye.